from Hollywood, California. Welcome to the future of Hollywood with your host, Anthony Gilardi.
Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone calm down, and thank you, world, for sharing this moment with us. My name is Anthony Gilardi, and this, right here, right now, is the future of Hollywood. We have an amazing show today. We will be discussing our favorite subject, acting, or as we like to call it, the art of humanity. And as we know, art is very subjective, so we have a lot to discuss. So let's do this. I am going to call my very first guest. It is my honor to introduce a very good friend of mine, Mr. Richard Cabral. Richard Cabral, right there. We had the chair made just for you, my friend. And you actually get to take that home when we're done.
Wow.
So it's good. You can have it in the house and think of us all the time.
Great.
First of all, I want to say, on behalf of the entire Anthony Gilardi acting studio, we are all very, very proud of you for booking your first big role on TV, series regular in John Ridley, Academy Award winning John Ridley's new series on ABC.
Right.
American Crime. He's going to be playing the role of Hector. Very cool role. Without giving away any of the story, I just want to talk about one particular thing that you and I had to do in pre-production. We got the script and we're breaking it down, and we noticed that in one scene, Hector, Richard's character, gets shot in the leg. We didn't want to fake anything. We wanted to be as prepared as possible. So walk us through exactly how we approached that and how it benefited you.
It kind of started off with just doing the research and getting hold of the doctors that you had a chance to get a hold of, and just figuring out how I was shot. Because I mean, there's so many ways to get shot. Was the leg still there? Was it did it go through the bones and whatnot? So yeah, we kind of gathered that, and it didn't really specify how I was shot. Right. So we had to make up our own story. But I believe it was that it had hit the bone that we had told ourselves.
The femur bone.
The femur bone, and that kind of just threw everything off, and I was under morphine and just everything that kind of.
We have to figure out how being on a morphine drip affects your behavior.
Your body, yeah.
Yeah, because then there's a big hospital scene where Hector is lying in the hospital bed, and we need to make sure that the behavior is truthful.
Right.
One of the doctor asked me a million questions. Once I said, I'm working on this, and we got shot in the leg. He asked me, well, then, did it shatter the femur bone? Did it go in? Did it go?
Right.
And so we had to make some choices. And these choices are very vital to the character, because if you have your femur bone shattered,
right,
you might be walking with a limp for the rest of your life. If your artery that comes up next to your femur bone is severed, then you might be in danger of losing your life.
Yeah, right.
So you could die when you're on that hospital bed. We needed to know how that went down. So how did that knowledge and preparation benefit you?
It was just so huge, because I think I really had the whole morphine drip, that whole feel kind of down.
Yeah.
And then when I went on set, like, there was an actual doctor that was right there with me. So I had told him, right when I seen him, I was like, what's happening? And he tells me, he was like, how I'm seeing it, Richard, is that it completely shattered the femur bone.
Wow.
So it was like, all right, great. Well, me and Anthony,
we got it,
So I kind of knew where I was at, and that just made it just like, it was the worst of the worst. Like, I mean, I couldn't do nothing with my leg. They had to operate it right there and then. The slug was still in there. So all the homework that we did was just, it was perfect.
I say in class all the time, you have to be prepared, you have to do your homework and research. But then at the end of the day, You have to let all that go and just be in the moment.
The day of, everything just changes.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, if you're prepared, then you're good. You're
preparation is everything. And then while you were waiting to see if the pilot was going to get picked up, which it did,
Right.
You were on the set with Mel Gibson
Right.
for Mel Gibson's new movie, playing the role of Joker. We were talking on the phone back and forth. I didn't have the luxury of being on set with him, unfortunately, but we had contact, and
Right.
there was a lot of things that came up that you just can't prepare for as an actor. You just have to be in the moment. So how did that go down?
I mean, it was one of the I think toughest challenges, just working with Mal, because Mal's a powerhouse. That's he's there. Either you're gonna hang with him, or he's just gonna topple you. And there was a scene where he wasn't really feeling the realness of it. So the writer and director were right there, and we needed to change it right there, right then.
Right.
And we're filming, so we're talking, and we're just ready to go. And I think it was just like, wow, I had to adjust to him. But at the same time, mentally adjust. But at the same time, the realness had to be there, or else, like I said, he was just gonna topple right over me.
Exactly. You can't fake anything.
And I can't. But being prepared, I mean, I was able to execute.
And they actually changed dialogue, and they changed a big chunk of the story right there on the spot.
Right, because of that, though, because of Mel Gibson. So right after that, I had a scene with William H. Macy.
Yep.
And but there was no dialogue. But because I believe because of that, they had enough confidence to go ahead and just make my character now a critical piece of the story. And so now I have this huge scene with William. Yeah.
That wasn't originally written in the script. So it's one of those things. When you're prepared and you're on the set, you should be ready for anything. You should be adjustable. You should be adaptable. And you should be directable. And because you were prepared, you got more camera time. And your character became a bigger character. When we first read the script, his character was good. It was a nice-sized character, a lot going on, very, very important to the story.
Right.
But then it just escalated from there.
Right. And I just believe it's the confidence, because they don't know how much confidence they or how much they could really trust you. I mean, you're an actor, but you're not Mal, or you're not William H. Macy. But if you show them that you could do it, then they're like, oh wow, we don't have to worry. We could give him these lines, and he's gonna execute. And that's kind of what happened.
Exactly. And you and I talk about this all the time, and I say it in class all the time. It really, at the end of the day, comes down to trust.
Right.
You trust yourself because you know that you were prepared. And because of that, now the director and the writer and all the actors that you're working with, they start trusting you as well. Right. And then when that happens, it's a snowball effect, and just beautiful things happen.
Nobody could trust you unless you trust yourself.
Exactly. And then there was also another moment where you kind of improv a line with the hockey stick thing.
Right.
And that's another moment that,
No, it was like there was a point where the writers were like, what do you feel about this scene? And I was like, you're asking me? And this is Peter Craig. Peter Craig wrote The Town, and he's the current writer of the Hunger Games right now.
Yeah.
So he's like, go ahead, Richard. And I was like, are you serious?
You can do this?
Yeah, so, and then I remember sending him a few lines, and he emailed me back. He was like, I love them. Let's play with them when we get on set. And so it was just like, wow, it was just an honor. And then it's not TV, so television, they're more they stick to the lines, on a feature film, they let you improv and whatever comes out. And he was like, just run loose, Richard, just do what you do. I was like, all right, I don't know if you're ready.
If he asked me first, I would be like, are you sure you're gonna ask Richard to be free and run? Because I'd be like, let's see.
And they loved it.
Yeah, of course they loved it, of course. And that actually reminds me, when you did End of Watch, you had one of the best lines in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And that was
I changed it. And it's just Anthony just you put in us, you instill in us to just trust. And if it comes out organically, then just say it. And if they don't like it, they're just gonna say no, okay, but oh wow, that's all right.
It's not cool. Live theater. It's
not
gonna have another take.
And then once you see that you're on the same level as these artists, they're colleagues or whatever you want to call them. And then but that's the line that we're talking about. For End of Watch, it was like,
you could say it. You could say it.
Yeah. So originally was like, what's up now, puto?
Yeah.
Right. What's up now, puto? So in other words, what's up now, motherfucker?
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what, David Ayer? He was the writer. That was the writer director of it. I was like, you know what, David? I was like, I'm not feeling fucking what's up now. I was like, what about checkmate, puto? Checkmate. I like it, Richard. I like it.
Like it.
And they kept it.
They let him say it.
They let him say it.
And it's funny too because I'm sitting there watching the movie. I'm like so proud. I'm like a proud father, like watching like his son in a little league game hitting a home run. And I'm like, and all of a sudden everything's quiet, and you hear, "Checkmate, puto." I was like, oh my God. I think I get more excited than you guys. I really do. It's the craziest thing. But that's another example of being prepared and being in the moment. But you're right about film is different. On TV,
Right.
they won't really allow you to.
Yeah, they make you stay on the
TV's
line.
more of a writer's medium, and rightfully so. Another thing I want to talk about is I also had the pleasure of directing you in live theater.
Right.
So we did we have experience with TV, film, and theater. Richard wanted to write a one-man show based on his spoken word. It was just amazing because you were able to reach a certain demographic that is not necessarily unreachable, but hard to reach.
Right.
So let's go over what your thought process was when you first wanted to write LA Raw and do spoken word, and who you actually wanted to reach.
I think just you like helping me believing in myself and believing in my writing. So I just at that point I just started just these words just started coming out, and I had so much. So I mean, before you could write about anything, I feel you must write about yourself, and what yourself is. I believe that's where you come from. That's your family. It was a Los Angeles story, a urban Los Angeles story,
East LA.
and East LA. And so these streets you don't hear about, and like people talking about these streets is unheard of, you know. So it was kind of like the first time.
Yeah.
And the raw, it's not pretty. It's pretty, but it has the rawness, and it was, man.
It's pretty in its imperfections.
Yeah,
That's what I
everything.
love the most about it. And LA Raw was the perfect word for it because it was as raw as can be.
Right.
And you know, somebody asked me, how do you plan to direct Richard? And I was like, I'm just gonna get out of his way, man. I'm gonna let him do what he's gonna do, make sure that he's lit, and that's it.
Right.
And that's what you do with artists, real artists. And sure enough, it worked out perfectly. And now it's starting to evolve into something. You want to do a series out the box.
Right.
You want to do a video series from pieces of spoken word that are performed by people that are involved,
Right.
and know the life.
And just artists. Like, I'm just opening it to all artists because we don't have those outlets. And so someone came across like, Richard, like, I love what you're doing. I want to do whatever you know, whatever you got. And so like me, like, this is where I came from, you know, and like I feel like the studio has a real it has a real special place in my heart, you know. So like, to give back, that's priceless.
That's always been my favorite thing about you since I've known you. We've been working together for almost 4 years now, and Richard's all heart, man. And you know, once Richard started buying into, if I open up my heart, the world will have to listen. And as you can see, he's an open book now, and that took time. That took patience, but he's not using anything that he didn't already have, and that's what I call a unique technique. Once you realize that you could use what you have, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to cry, it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be mad, it's okay to share yourself and your pain. That's when things really started happening, and that's when things started going. But the best thing about it is you realize that you're not the only one that grew up that way.
Yeah.
And you're not the only one that is an artist that is kind of trapped in a world that is not for artists. It wasn't meant to be for artists. And you just want to give back. You tell me, you walk me through how the moment where you actually felt like you turned the corner and now it's like, all right, I understand this, I got this now. Was there a moment like that?
I don't think I could ever say that I got this. I just feel a little bit more comfortable and a little bit trust how you put in me. But like when you opened me up to Piñero and Gerges, because I had been studying, well, not really studying, but just searching for like maybe like 6 months prior to that. And I went to another studio and like there was no material. Everybody was putting up like just putting up everything, but
nothing spoke to you.
Yeah, nothing can. How am I gonna do Shakespeare? How am I gonna do Neil LeBouf? You know, like, I'm not saying that I can't do it, but you have to really tap into who you are first, and before I feel you could start branching off to other stuff. And like, but so nothing was really ringing to me. But finally, when Gergis came and I did what was it? Jesus Hopped the A Train.
Yep.
It was just like, oh wow, like this is for these are my streets. But even though it was on the East Coast,
Right.
and that's kind of where we went.
Streets
we kept on,
are the streets,
yeah, the
man.
streets are the streets. The story is the story,
Yep.
and doesn't matter if it's in the Bronx or if it's in East LA or wherever. And then, but when I did Flaco on Den of Thieves, though, that was
changed
the
everything.
one that just broke
Yeah.
me. Like I had just like these feelings like that just needed to get out. And,
Yeah.
and like that was the day that it just.
It seemed to me, from the outside looking in, that you just tapped into something that maybe you didn't even know you had, you know?
Right.
And I agree with you. That was the time that I've seen you change. I watched you change. You turned the corner, and then you never looked back.
Right.
And I see that all the time in my studio with my students. It's like they feel like they're hitting a brick wall, then all of a sudden they have an experience,
Right.
and they turn a corner. And I encourage them to just keep on doing it. And that's exactly what you did. And then you had that moment. Right. And it's a very special thing. Studio is here, and you know how they feel about you. I'm sure they have a
Right.
million questions to ask you. You mind answering some questions?
Of course not.
Who has any questions for Richard Cabral? Maria, right there. A question for Richard?
Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming out. I wanted to say, I heard you speak recently when you were honored at the Homeboy Industries.
Right.
And you spoke about transformation and the process of transforming. And I was curious, did you make a specific decision to transform, or was it something that just started to happen?
I think the universe, it evolves. Everything evolves, and I kind of think that's what transformation is kind of hand in hand for me. So I think without me even wanting to, I have no choice. I'm constantly transforming, but I think at that point in my life, I was conscious of it, and me really accepting it and loving the transformation that comes every day.
And you feel transformed now? Can you feel the difference?
I feel I'm transforming. I'm still every day, but yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Tony, right? You remember Tony? Got a question for Richard again?
Hey, you talk about where you come from.
Right.
You know, to me, you're such an innovator. You have the passion, the love for acting, and I just want to ask for anybody out there, young or old,
Right.
that want to do it, that come from the same values that we came from. What do you tell them?
There's just so much, right? But I think the first step is to just believe that you could do more than your society tells you could do. I think that's the first step. And I mean, if you're blessed to be in Los Angeles, come see Anthony, come to the studio. And I mean, I believe God puts people in your path, and I know God put Anthony in my path to I mean, of course I had the hunger, but it was through his guidance, and to really seek it. If you seek it, the universe will open up for you, and it's difficult. It's really difficult to talk to the barrio, to talk to the hoods, but like, because there's just so much negativity, but it's out there, but you just really need to seek a new path. And I didn't know what the path was. I had no intentions to be an actor, but I was seeking for something, and this is what happened.
Okay, Chen, what's on your mind?
One question I have is, as we all know, in the end of the day, no matter how much we develop our craft, because it's still the show business.
Right.
So the business aspect of acting, when you first signed with your first agent, how do you make yourself more connect with your agent so that you get more like audition opportunities? Is there any like tips that have you ever experienced that you can share with us?
I've never gave my my career and my craft to my agent out fully, and I believed in making our own waves, and like I just think that was like kind of it's priceless. I mean, I know you were doing your own project too, and like just stuff like that, writing and creating and theater pieces, like, because at the end you're nobody special unless you was established like that connection with your reps, But at the end of the day, they're just trying to make that dollar, and I just think just really doing your own things, whether it's theater, whether it's your screenplays, whether it's just continuously making noise. And and till my dying day, I think I'll be doing that. And I think that's the biggest thing, to don't depend on a rep for your career. You know, it's you. It's you're the one that's going to determine what happens to your career, I feel. And that's what I've been doing from the beginning.
That was great, guys. Great questions. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. But this is all the time we have for this episode. So that's it. That's it. Everyone go home. No. Calm down. Richard will be back. He's going to be critiquing a monologue that he holds near and dear to his heart. So until then, this is not the end. This is just the beginning, because the future of Hollywood knows that the best is yet to come.